So I know that we're kind of finishing up the rest of the pieces for the processing service. So let me kind of get latest here. Let me share my screen. I love the fact that StreamYard. This is the power of startups right here. StreamYard will kind of give you a view of what people are seeing. When you're sharing that and other platforms, you may or may not get the that kind of luxury to see what's going on. Okay, so let me kind of make things a little bit nicer for people. All right, so I know that last time we had someone owed me something.
I owe you
You
something.
owe me one. So you have should throw a validation exception pass. So we need to handle basically the
Mhm.
dependency validation exceptions. All right.
Correct. Yeah.
Let's do that together. Let's see. Or do you want me to kick it off and then you make it pass? How do you want to play it?
I can write it. Yeah.
Let's go. Let's do it.
I'm just writing it for maybe the sake of others because you and Kailu,
Yes.
you have this muscle memory when you
We
write
go.
things.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%.
yeah,
You are absolutely right.
I'll
This is
write my luck.
this is this is our curse right there. Kylo and I will just kind of fly and then assume that people just understand what we're doing. It's a curse. It's the curse of being doing the same thing and just following the same practice for a long time. I agree.
No? Okay, I'll share my screen.
Let's go to town. Let's do it. Okay, let's do this.
Okay, so the needed test now is to capture the couple of exceptions from the data foundation service, the validation exceptions, wrap them
Yeah,
in a processing validation exception and
dependency validation. Yes,
dependency validation exception. Yeah.
that's right. Let's do it.
Okay.
It's
So
much easier once you start going upstream. It gets easier and easier, but yeah,
yeah. So first let's do the exception piece here.
cool.
Okay. Just remove this. I think we're not used to the private a lot, so we still write some public test
Yep.
cases.
Yeah, we're still kind of getting used to the new, and I should probably, I don't know if Gregory already did this, but our we still are defining services in the standard itself as public, and that's not true, especially if the service is internal, right? And we need to detail a few things about, like, if you look at the examples that are in the standard itself. I should probably, maybe I'll update them tonight or something like that. It'll be interesting this way. Okay.
Mhm. So we'll have should throw the dependency validation exception or retrieve if dependency validation error oops
Error occurs. Yeah,
occurs async.
perfect.
And here we'll have
How long is that? How long is that line? So if you zoom out just a tiny
it's
bit,
131.
yeah, it can't be. It needs to be 120 max. So
Okay,
let's see, should throw, take
maybe
away data processing. Yep.
yeah,
So now you should be at, how big is it now? Yeah,
180.
118. And you
Yeah.
probably need like a theory, member data, all that.
Yes, yes, yes. So
Cool.
the we will have an exception with an X.
Yep, that's right. And then you can call it dependency validation exception.
See validation exception. Oops.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes I hate AI here.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so we will have a theory data of
Right. And then we
um,
need member data. See, it's so
yeah,
smart.
yeah.
It now knows like you're going in that direction because we're very consistent with our pattern. But by the way, Omar, just some people said to me, you're not doing yourself any favors by staying consistent because AI could replace you so easy. I was like, well, by all means, if a toaster can be as creative as we can be, then maybe we need to evolve. So
Mm,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so let's get here and have a public theory data, okay, but not data results, exception.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we'll have what is called data validation, data service validation exception.
Yeah, that's what we called it, and you need to new it up. So just
Yes,
new
yeah.
data ser
New validation
and
exception. I think it requires an inner exception here.
and you need a method. You need like a an actual method for this. You can't fat arrow this because it's a multi-liner.
Mhm. Um, oops. And I think here we need another one.
Yep.
Let's see. We call this here just AI overload
Dependence.
my.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So
Uh,
you need this to be a method. Yeah. There
yes.
you go. And
Okay. So
now,
we'll need an exception here,
it's a
just a
random
random.
exception,
Yeah.
random inner exception. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. Exception. Okay. And we'll just give it to.
Call it random inner exception.
Okay. Random error exception. And the
Uh,
other one is called data
Data
service
service dependency
dependency
validation except. There you go.
validation exception. Okay.
Yep. I saw some people leave a trailing comma after, um,
The
but
last
I
one.
don't. Yeah, I don't follow that. I don't know why they do that. They say that it makes things easier for the diffing. So when there's a new record, it doesn't confuse the reviewer. It's a weird kind of reasoning. I can't understand where they're coming from. We don't do
Yeah.
that.
It always
Okay.
looks like you forgot something if you keep
Yep.
it.
Yep. So,
Okay, so we'll have our uh, trio here.
yep. Given, when, then. Put a space between each one of them. So between the word, yeah, perfect.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so all what we need here is a random query.
Yep.
Uh,
Some query. We don't care because
yeah,
we're gonna throw the exception anyway, right? Mm.
yeah, create random string, I think we call it.
If it's a query, then and there's a method for the query, and I think there is a method for the query.
Oh, yeah.
There
Create
should be.
random
Yep.
query. Okay,
Yep.
that's good. Okay, and we will need our expected uh, data processing
Dependency validation exception.
dependency validation exception.
Yep, that's right.
Okay, equals sure. Yeah, but no, we will need a message here.
No, you need that inner exception that's coming from. Yeah, that's right. We need the message, but we also need yeah,
Then
yep,
exception, yeah.
yep, you're absolutely right. Keep going.
Okay. Let's see, and the inner exception is that thing.
Hmm.
Dependency validation exception. And let's create this one here. And under models processing exceptions.
Hmm.
It's control alt dot or alt dot. That
For
thing.
what? You're trying to
Like
create.
adding a class directly.
Oh, I don't know.
I
Like
think
directly?
yeah, like you can if you want to add a class. Yeah, it's shift alt.
Oh, Shift Alt C. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll just borrow the these two guys here. Okay,
Hmm.
and the message should be something like data
Data processing dependency validation error occurred.
processing.
Actually, don't mention the level. So data. dependency validation error occurred. We try to hide the level so we don't expose our internal architecture. We used to do
Mm,
it the way you just said, and we
mm,
evolved. We grew up a lot from there. Mm.
yeah. Fix errors and try again. Okay, so oh, this should actually inherit the exception.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll go to our file and get it. It's called message. Okay. So here just the message is
It should be, the message should be data dependency validation error occurred, right?
I copied the wrong. Okay. So
I mean, it's great. That's the whole point of it. It just
it will
really,
fail. It would
yeah,
fail.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. So the last thing here we need is just a setup statement for the mock thing. So this the data processing, data
By the way,
set.
if you just type mock, it picks it up for you. Just, yeah, go for it.
If I type, oh yeah, okay, I understand.
Mhm.
So retrieve data async of some query throws this.
Yeah, take the statement to the next line and take the statement to the next line, and so from after the fat arrow,
Okay.
take service dot retrieve, push that with a tab, and then push the one underneath it with a tab. Now here's the deal: you're not really throwing the expected, and this should be called expected data processing dependency, not expectation. I know you were
Oh,
talking while you were typing. That's fine. If you do control period, it'll take care of that.
yeah.
Sure, that works too. But you're really throwing the dependency validation exception, right?
Uh, I am
The one
throwing.
coming from the service, right?
Oh, yeah, the bad one here. Sorry.
So there's that, but also you're
Mhm.
not really wrapping that exception. You're getting the inner exception of it in your expected data processing dependency validation exception.
Say it again. Sorry, I am
Like
not.
you're not really propagating the outer exception from your dependency. It's the inner exception of the dependency that you're really taking. Remember the wrapping and unwrapping?
Yeah. Sorry.
And don't
Yeah.
forget the headers, Gregory says. Thank you, Greg. So line 28 will be like dot inner exception as exception,
Okay. Yeah.
right? You
Okay.
know why, right? That's the unwrapping, right? That's the localization and categorization. You're
Correct.
wrapping it,
We're actually
right?
taking the inner from
Yeah,
coming from foundation, wrapping it here with this.
exactly.
Yeah. Mm.
Uh, and then I think the message should be data dependency validation error occurred. Fix the errors and try again,
Okay.
or fix errors and
Actually,
try again.
yeah, because yeah, copy the wrong message there.
Okay,
Okay.
so all of this is good. Now you just need to, yeah, verify the exception, extract that actual exception.
Uh, task of data result.
Uh-huh.
Uh, call it normally retrieve data result task like this.
Hmm. Exactly.
Close this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're so
And
lucky with AI, man. I remember we had to write everything. This is such a
but
strange
it's
time.
not like it actually caused problems here.
It
That's why.
will.
Yeah.
It will hallucinate. Kailu would say copy pasta. Like, AI really, or Copilot is really just a glorified copy pasta machine. Like, it's garbage in, garbage out. If wherever it's reading from is not properly standardized, it will keep, and I can't tell you how many times people gave me the underscore in the private class member because
Yeah.
AI suggested so. But AI said so. So I was like, well, okay, you
I'm
need only
I'm
one
trying
tab.
actually. Yeah, I'm just actually it generated. I'm reading what got generated here, just to make sure it makes sense. Okay, so there is one tab, two tabs, and another tab
And then thanks to some of the folks from the past, you didn't need the open close parens at
here.
the as task level.
Oh, here. Oh, yeah.
Take that guy out. And if I'm not mistaken, you can also take the open close parens with the fat arrow.
Actually, that's a
See
member
how
from the
simple this is?
service. Yeah.
By the way, a lot of this happens by accident, like people that I'm teaching, and then they forget something and it just works. I'll be like, wow, all right, it's meant to be. We're meant to grow. So, okay.
Okay. So the actual processing exception. Okay, sure. Uh, okay. And the verification of the mock calls.
Uh-huh.
Data service mock. Verify. Okay. Okay. Actually, no, I did it. Oh, no, no, no. I'm just trying to see like what other options they have.
Hmm.
Okay, so we will have verify the service service dot what, why it just brings should here, it just writes should, I don't know why. Service dot
Gregor is like, look at him, he's AI almost.
uh, it's actually
Uh,
confusing a little bit.
it is, it is. And by the way, you just actually line 31 should be it is any string.
Yeah,
Because we don't really care to verify the input. We just want problems to happen. That's all.
so line 38 you said.
Yeah, if you look at line 38,
Yeah,
sorry, 31. Go to 31. You see how you said some query? It should say it is any.
ah, yeah.
Uh, Greg, did you know that Clean Mock hit already 18,000 downloads or something like that? What did we do?
Yeah, and the last one is the data service.
Oh, never mind. 20,000 downloads.
Okay.
Yeah, it went really fast. We have to standardize it though, Greg, so I will try to draft some high-level architecture of how clean is supposed to work. Let me just be done with entity intelligence, and then we'll pick up this one right after. I don't wanna, I want this project to evolve and offer something even better. Although, like, to be honest with you, like in the last 5 to 6 years, I've never really felt like I need to use anything new in mock. So we just need to keep it going, maintain it, keep it clean. AK. All right, is this a good failure, Omar?
I think I just need to fix the message. Yeah, so it's, because the copy paste of the message before didn't, just
Uh,
need to match the message properly.
cool.
Okay.
Data dependency validation error occurred, fix errors and try again. Well, it shouldn't pass, it should fail, right?
Yeah, yeah, but like it should fail for the wrong type of exception, right?
It should fail for the wrong reasons. That's right. There
Yeah,
it is. That looks
yeah,
about it.
yeah. Okay,
Cool. Give me the thing.
okay. I'm done here.
All right. So it's my turn now. I will make this pass and I'll write a failing test for Kailu to pick it up. Let's do this. Okay, so let's run all these tests. Here we go. Okay, and why does this look weird? See, that's the thing. This setting that you're using is not gonna let you see how the whole thing looks like. I know Kailu used to have that. I don't know. Kailu, do you still have this wrap thing in your you know how it kind of wraps the text? I think that's what Greg was talking about in a copyrights perspective. Control KD.
I don't have things that wraps the text, but I used to make a thing that draws a line on like line, not line, but on the 120th character.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay, uh so check this out, Omar. So I've ever shown you how you could basically I can take both of these. You know this, right? I can take both of these and then Control Shift right. I'll copy both of them. I'll go back here, right, and I'll do F11. No, the implementation for this would be Control F12. So here's the thing. Oh well, that's weird. Did we not have a validation? Am I missing something? Because there should be a try catch wrapped up in here already, right?
We had one.
Yeah, hang on. Something is not right. So if I pull latest,
I'm talking about this one, retrieve data async, that we have one. What are you talking about?
yeah, I don't know what happened, but it kind of threw away the try catch. The try catch just disappeared all of the sudden, and I didn't know why that happened. Let me add in a copyrights in here real quick. And then yeah, I was kind of shocked because I didn't see the anyway, so just hear me out. So you remember these two things that I just copied, right? So watch this. This is like the lazy guy, the good lazy, right? So catch, here's that, copy these space. You take one character, control U, right? And I want to copy these still. So here's that. You're writing both of them at the same time, and then you're throwing data, processing, dependency, validation, exception. Yeah. And then if I do paste, it will paste only the ones that I was looking for, right?
It's amazing.
How about
Hopefully,
that?
the guy doesn't learn from you and starts having two catches for each try.
Here's how I know something is up. You see, this guy, data processing validation exception, and data processing dependency validation exception should have the exact same um, namespace, right? So if this guy is giving me a hard time, I either misspelled it or something else is going on in terms of, why are they like I shouldn't have, and this is just you doing the same thing over and over again, right? So let's see what's going on. Is this thing exist? If I do control comma, it will go search across the board and I know you can't see it, but I can. And if I go over here, look at this. This says processing's AI exceptions. So it looks like you put that file in the wrong place, my friend. Right? Huh? So let me pull that over here. Now, see how these little tiny things, that's what AI can't tell you, right? Now watch this. See how now it's working? A
Okay.
lot of people, and I tell you this right now, a lot of people would go and say, oh, let me just control period and get the namespace. No, that's not the way to do it, right? And then this is a multi-liner, control K D, control K, yeah, control K E, control, hold on. Yeah, see, we don't need that. And if I remember this correctly, I think when you wrote these two, you put an extra line in here. There you are. And here's another extra line. That's Omar right there. All right, let's go back
My,
here. Uh, what? Tell
it's my
me.
signature.
It's your signature. Okay. All right, that's fair.
Mhm.
Are you having fun? I'm having fun.
I'm having fun. I'm actually never did this before, like going online and doing things like this. So,
No, I know, I know. You're a lot of people like let me just tell you something. I am not nearly as smart as the people that I bring on this channel, but I know that they don't have the opportunity or the chance to see the light because, they either don't want to do it themselves or nobody cares to kind of bring their genius out on the screen. I do, though. I care a lot about, bringing people on and just show the world what software engineering really is because, to be honest with you, what I saw online I felt like whatever, is presented online, and I'm not demeaning or belittling anyone, but I'm just trying to tell you that it doesn't really show what enterprise engineering really looks like. You know what I mean? Like you'll see a lot of people kind of eh, they make you think that programming is this really super easy. You gotta know all the answers all the time, but that's a lie. We're gonna sit here and scratch our heads and not know what's going on, and sometimes we're gonna take a very long time to find the answers, and that's totally okay. That's part of the engineering experience, you know. So anyway, I'm gonna steal your code. Watch this. So if I don't want validation to be mentioned anywhere in my test, right? So if I do this and watch this, Alt Shift period, it will find the similar, but the problem here is that let's start from here. Watch this. Blip, 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 blip. Go back one. And then I just take that out. So, and now I have everything you did, except that I don't have to rewrite the test. The only thing I need to take is this data dependency error occurred, contact support. That's it. I feel bad. Okay, here's this guy, right? And then let's do this. Let's take that guy back here. What is, but yeah, I'm really glad that that you decided to kind of hop in and join us. Um, not a lot of people feel like um they can do it. A lot of people in the past were like, oh my God, I'm so afraid that I'm gonna be embarrassed online. I'm like, embarrassed of what? There's nothing to be embarrassed of. Just give it your best and see what happens. You know what I mean?
yeah, I think like for me, kind of like life took me in a separate path from actually doing this on a daily basis.
Mm,
Uh, which is not like sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Like a lot of times it's bad, right? Like my whole world revolves around some platforms that we write code to customize and configure and everything, but not code that it's just specialized code, right?
hmm.
To do something in a bigger platform. So you don't have actually that liberty of doing everything from scratch.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. That's the problem, right? That's most of the really, really, really smart engineers out there. They're stuck in this um super massive, amazing. Like when people ask them the question, be like, yeah, I'm working on this big, super awesome thing that everyone is using, but how much experience are they actually building? Let me tell you an interesting conversation I was having this morning with a couple of people. They were saying, I'm supposed to kind of conduct some interviews, and um, people would say they have a lot of experience, but they really don't, right? I have no doubt that they sat around for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. But have they actually built 10 years worth of experience? Absolutely flip-flop and not. Do you understand? Like you could have someone who's been around for 15 years, but do they actually have 15 years worth of evolution? That's what these sessions do. They basically, every day you're learning something new. Every day you're building something interesting. Every day you're solving a problem that's truly challenging to you. People don't get that every day from their daily. And the whole goal, what Kylo and I try to do really most of the time is to make it actually um, actually possible for people to grow and all that. I just discovered something crazy. Why does this say data service? It should say data validation. Gee, why is it called that? That's crazy. Let's take that out. This is going to break a lot of things. Okay, let me hold off on changing these. I'll let this be a code drop. We shouldn't say service. There's no data service. It's data validation exception. Okay, because now this is data. Okay, I'll let Omar, if you like, you can fix that part. Data dependency exceptions. Yeah, this is good. Let's run this. Okay. Data validation. Yeah, because I removed the code. Sure. Yeah, it shouldn't say service. It should just say the entity and then the category and then where we are at. Okay, is this a good failure here? It says I expected you to give me dependency, but you give me data service exception. Hey, Kailu, you want to take this one? Kailu, fail.
Yeah.
So you make this one pass and give me a service exception. Omar fixes it, and we're done with this service. The service is over. And by the way, Gregory, put the architecture on the front screen of this. Thank you, Greg, for doing that. I appreciate it. So we can always go back to this architecture and update it if we need to. The question is whether we want to use Mermaid or not. Should we use Mermaid? I don't know. I'm not gonna lie to you, Omar. If you go back to some of our live sessions with OData, yeah, there were some moments where it was hard on some people to kind of be online because we were just having a good time. We're laughing and there's this pressure. You have 4 or 5 people on the call and they're all trying to push something to get a product out the door. It was bad. It was bad, and it was like people from everywhere. So we had um, people from England, we had people from Germany, we had people from Australia, we had people from Puerto Rico, and here in the US. And it was just this the PR would have a code commit doing a full circle around the planet. And I'm not kidding you. Like the commits would just make a nice round robin around the globe. I think that's how we built the OpenAI project. It was pretty cool. The .NET library for the OpenAI project. I don't know why these clowns didn't add our .NET library to their list, the ChatGPT OpenAI folks. In their documentation, they usually just kind of say, here's some libraries that you can use. I don't know, maybe because it's not complete or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, .NET has only like a handful, but not all of them. Okay. We're ranking pretty good though. We have like 7,000 downloads. We are in the middle of the front page, which I'm very, very proud of. It's pretty cool. Kailu, you're catching dependency validation. Just oh, you're never mind, never mind. Yep. All right. Did I put the processing exception outside?
No, that's me.
Okay.
That's me.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so Omar, you're gonna need to just make that one pass once Kailu's done with it. And that would be it. So just something for the people watching. There might be potentially an opportunity in .NET 8 to solve the problem with dead-end services where we want to test a service that it is throwing a service exception. However, the service has no dependencies. So how do we pretend a service exception has happened? This has been a problem that community has been trying to solve for like a year now, probably more. There might be an opportunity there. I know multiple people reached out to me and said, your internal mock project could leverage this new capability, and I think that .NET 8 will be uh, general availability is going GA on in November, so that's pretty cool. So that's how that one goes.
So Hassan, say the problem again. Sorry. What's the issue here?
So imagine that you have a service, and this service does internal calculation, like it doesn't call a dependency. So there's no mocking. You're not injecting any dependencies because the service is self-fulfilling, right?
Okay.
Imagine for all intents and purposes, just for example, you have something called math service, and this math service has a function called add numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're passing two numbers and it adds two numbers together. It doesn't need to call any dependency in any way, shape, or form, right? How do you test this service against service exception, like memory leakage, out of bound, whatever the case may be, whatever infrastructure exception? So you want to handle exceptions if they ever occur within that service, but how do you pretend, how do you fake an exception, right? How do you mock an exception happening, right? I love how some engineers would come to me and say, well, it will never happen. That's my favorite part. It'll never happen. Oh yeah, okay. That sounds like a recipe for a disaster, right? So what we used to do is that we have a library called internal mock, which partially mocks a service. Like it will find a private method inside that service and rewrites the code of it. It's quite wild, actually, right? And then pretends that an exception has been thrown. The problem is with .NET 7 and then the .NET 8 and things are changing in the inner implementation of the platform. This reflection method doesn't work anymore because it's a hack. You're basically rewriting a piece of code inside of a running application, right? So there might be an opportunity there. Uh, don't know yet, but that's where things are at. Fail, Kylo, not failed. Fail. Yep, yep. That's a good failing test right there. All right, Omar, that's it. Wrap it up. Create the PR. Let's go. The summit says, Hassan, what happened to the SLAL, Standardized Language Abstraction Library discussion with South African folks? Is it still going to happen? Yeah, he created, Ryan, he started learning about compilers, syntax, and whatnot, and he created a private repository to see if he can make it work. I still need to review his code, but he's definitely super excited about the project and whatnot. Um, he still wants to do like one JSON object that carries routines in it, which is a wild idea, right? So I don't know how far he's gonna go with it, but I'm also trying to find different styles of solution. But that thing is still going. Just so you understand, up to Summit, how the community works. There is these seasons, like season one, season two. It's like you're watching a Netflix series, right? And usually the season has a particular project that we're going through. So that's the main flow. And then there are all these side projects that either get put on the shelf until the season is over, or someone, in the community owns it and decides to run with it, and with our support and supervision and help and all that. So Ryan is super excited about it. He started kind of looking into it. I just don't know yet how we're gonna implement that. It's gonna take a while. We're gonna need to think about one of the ideas that I have is to basically just have a universal language. So there's a universal standard programming language, and all other languages will map back and forth from that language. So Omar, while you're working on this, I'll take your screen for a second just to explain this. So um, Abdus Samad, what basically happens is if you have imagine that you have a universal language that says, I don't know, let's do something, like iteration, right? And then you're basically saying X in, let's say, student in students, right? So iteration, student in, this is too small for the screen, student in students, right? And in this iteration, student in students, you're basically saying print, right, student name or something like that, right? This is called a universal standardized language. You're basically saying this is not something that you can compile necessarily, but it's something that all languages could map to and from. So in C sharp, it would be for each, right? Var or student in students like that, and then you go and say console right line student.name, and then so that's the standard language. and then there's the C sharp language, and then there's the Java language, right? I think Java is like four. If I'm not, is it four, Kylo? I don't remember.
Four, yeah,
Yeah,
four.
four. And then you basically
Mhm.
go and say students, students, and students, and then you
It's
go and
a
say,
colon,
is it
colon
colon?
instead of,
Okay.
oh, it's
Yep,
colon instead of in. Yep,
like that. And then you
yep.
basically say system dot out dot print line like this. Do you actually spell out the word line, or is it
No,
ln?
just ln, just ln.
ln, right? Student dot name or something like that, or get name or whatever Java does its
Yeah,
thing, right?
yeah,
So the standard language of the Samad would be basically what we define as a universal languages that other languages could map to and from, right? So it's like this middle ground, right? And people are going to have to develop libraries to map in and from this abstract layer that's called the standard language. It's not a programming language. It's an abstraction language, right? So instead of people developing software that maps from C sharp, like this is here is C sharp, and this is here is Java. Instead of people doing that nonsense, and trying to map from one language specifically to another, no, they will all map to this one universal language, and then they will map from that universal language, right? Now, one of the challenges that you may have guessed, one of the challenges is that, like C sharp, for instance, have this idea of generics. It has the idea. What was the thing that bothered me a lot the other day? Oh yeah. So in C sharp, you can do something like this. Name is, right? And you do that. That's the string interpolation, like that. And it's all said and done, no problem there. In Java, you can't do that. You have to either do string format, or you do this really crazy name is, and then you go do this nonsense like plus and concatenation and stuff like that. Or you use a string builder or some other nonsense, right? So whoever is mapping, like if we decide to implement interpolation in here, right? Whoever is developing that is going to have to really work hard to make this mapping happen. But that's basically the standard universal, right? Is basically one common descriptive non-compilable language that allows other languages to come in and out from in real time. And that's my idea of like RESTful local communications. What the folks from South Africa, or when we talked about this, they said, no, we don't want it to be like that, right? Or I haven't even run it by them. They said, no, we want to describe it as a JSON object. So you have something called method, and inside that method, there are parameters, and these parameters are, which it's very possible, it's very structured, right? Like you'd say parameters like that, and then these parameters as an array, and then inside every parameter, there is this thing. You're basically turning a routine into an object, which is cool until you start doing something like print or do something like that. This is where it starts to get really interesting, because what are the operations that you're needing? What if you're doing nesting? It's a huge project. It's crazy huge project. But as big as the project may be, the impact of it is actually absolutely absolutely as big, right? So there's also that. So we'll see how that works. Okay, let's go back to Omar. Omar, are you good? All passing?
Yeah. Just confirm here. We just where is we catch a generic exception, wrap it up with failed data processing exception.
Hmm.
True, and it's passing.
Yep. You don't need
What? Sorry.
oh uh go back one. So go back to the part where you go into your failed service exception.
Oh, you mean I don't need to? Oh, this is AI processing. Right. This
So this
test.
mapping you don't need.
This needs to be an
Yeah,
exception.
this should say exception with the X.
Yeah, with the E.
With the E, yes, correct.
Okay. 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 That's it.
Okay, so that means we can basically finally open up uh, uh, let me just take one more look. It looks like there's a couple of comments there. Let me go over here and let me pull latest. Tone Day, Taha says C sharp. Yeah, that's the programming language we're using, C sharp. So let's see here on that last let's see, data processing service. Where is it, Gregory? The overloaded as well. Change over. Oh yeah, this one. Yeah, that's right. There you go. Yeah, I got it. Okay, so that's just a quick code rub. Um, change parameter type. Okay, so here's that. Um, okay. Rizno Rizno V says, "What are we doing? What are we doing, Omar? What are we building in here? Can you tell?"
We're avoiding Netflix.
We're avoiding Netflix. We're, we're trying to do something a little bit more useful than Netflix. No, so in all seriousness, Resno, we're basically building a library called the Entity Intelligence. And what this library does, it's a .NET library. And what it does is that it takes natural language and turns it into SQL. So you're basically talking to your database, right? You're communicating naturally with your database. So you don't have to think about the query, right? You're thinking more about, the data that you want to retrieve, and it's super dynamic. It's super simple. If you look at the entity intelligence introduction, that's the POC of the project. It's gonna blow your mind. You know what it can do. It's a pretty cool idea, actually. Or I do think it's a pretty cool idea. Okay, any last remarks, gentlemen? We have 4 minutes, and I'm just waiting for this build to be done. But anything else that you can think of? I think that takes care. Like if we go back to the architecture of the project, that takes care of this data processing service right here. This would be completed. And then the next step would be the orchestration service, the SQL orchestration service. And with this one, we can do a quick POC. We can basically send it truly natural language and let it go and pull data and see what that looks like. What do you think about that? That's pretty cool, right? So it should basically go into the database and pull the schema and then share that schema with the AI and let AI kind of you know, um, generate that SQL statement. That would be what this right side of this architecture does. Okay, just going back here to check one more time. Yeah, I mean, I'll let it kind of, run its course. Those agents are a little bit slow anyway, but I appreciate both of you. I appreciate your time. And, tomorrow we can start looking into at least developing the happy path for orchestration. See, Omar, with the orchestration services, it's more brain power than anything else in the world. Um, Let's see here. Daniel Meza says, does this project follows the standard best practices? Yes, it does. It's very standard compliant. That's right. It's if I'm not mistaken, it's on the standard version 2.9, which is the latest version of the standard. Correct. Okay, gentlemen. Thank you all so very much. I appreciate you. And let's connect again tomorrow. Take care.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.